welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to have a look at what are containers, go through a Docker overview, and finally we will look why do we need containers. Alright, so basically containers are isolated runtime environments. Let's understand what goes inside the container. So in production level, your container will basically contain apps that you want to serve to your customers or your clients, right? So that application is executing in a runtime environment, and that application is isolated from rest of the things that are running in your operating system. So basically a container only contains that application, and the process of that application sees nothing else except from that process itself. So that's what I mean by isolated runtime environment. And when you run a container, the application which it contains gets executed, and it's a good practice to run only one process for each container, although you can run multiple processes within a single container. But the thing is, the container lifecycle is tied with the process of the applications which is contained inside the container. So basically, if your process number 1 dies, your container also dies. And then let's have a look at virtual machines versus containers. So your virtual machine will typically consist of an infrastructure, which is your hardware, and over it there will be a hypervisor layer. So if you're not aware what is an hypervisor, it basically creates a virtual layer and acts as an interface between your virtual machines to communicate with your infrastructure. Infrastructure means your typical hardware like RAM and CPU. It needs some way to access resources to run its own operating system and apps that are deployed on the virtual machine. So hypervisor will do this for you, and it will emulate the hardware resources for your virtual machines. And typically what we see in a normal industrial scenario is we launch multiple cloud servers. For example, if you can relate AWS EC2 instances, so they are basically virtual machines, right? So it has an operating system on it, and then you deploy some applications, and then you run those virtual machines, right? And if you need to deploy multiple applications, you will launch multiple virtual machines. So the problem with this approach is there is a guest operating system involved every time you create a new virtual machine, and that guest operating system need to consume some resources, right? Even if though all three these virtual machines are Linux virtual machines, and they might share common libraries, but still these applications need separate virtual machines. So that takes your infrastructure, and it increases your costs, and also it is resource hungry kind of approach. So what is being changed in container applications? So this image I have borrowed from Docker documentation. So here is your common infrastructure. This is your host operating system. Maybe let's assume this is Linux, and instead of Docker there can be a container engine, so runtime engine for example. So instead of Docker there could be another container engine which might be running some other containers, right? So in this case we are using Docker, and this Docker will create multiple containers. Alright, so now all these containers, they're software virtualized. Okay, this is a hardware virtualization, this is software virtualization. They only need their libraries to run, right? And they don't need operating system, because the Docker engine is already providing the host operating system resources. So these containers don't need any special virtual machine, so they share their resources with a common kernel, and their applications need very less amount of resources to run, plus they are isolated, and since they take very less resources, you can deploy multiple containers and applications within a container. Although you always have to keep in mind that it is a good practice to keep one process inside one container. Moving on, Docker. Docker is a daemon which is used to manage containers, so it really helps us to manage containers, their networks, their volumes, and etc. So let's have a look at Docker architecture. First, this is the Docker server or Docker daemon, and this connects via REST APIs to Docker client. So basically, when you fire some Docker run image name, it connects to Docker server via REST API. So, and this Docker daemon manages networks, containers, images, and data volume. There is a common misconception that a container is Docker, which is not true. Docker is a daemon which manages containers, and it not only manages containers, but it also manages its related networks, volumes, images, etc. So let's see how a container generally is created. This is your CLI, what we have read already. This is the Docker CLI, and basically this is your terminal. So when you run docker run some image name, you run over here, this is Docker CLI. It talks to Docker daemon, which is Docker engine, and this communication happens using REST API, right? Now Docker engine, what it does, it talks to containerd. What is containerd? Containerd is used to manage container life cycles, and it manages the related operations as well. For example, finding out if any volume has to be mounted in a container, or if a container has to be put into a separate network, and all those things. So when you type CLI, it goes to Docker engine. Docker engine creates a list of all the resources, like related things and stuff, what has to be tied with the container, and it sends to the containerd. Now the containerd sends this all information to runc. Runc is what actually runs your containers. So runc is governed by OCI, that is Open Container Initiative. This is a fixed defined standard to run all containers. So runc will take all those parameters, like if a container has to be created, what will be its image, what would be its volumes, what would be its network, etc., and then it will run a container. So this is how a container is created. So let's start the final part, the need for containers. Everything was running fine, the applications were deployed with normal architecture, but still we were introduced our containers. And why? They say that it's lightweight. We have doing some tweaks in kernel, right, for like introducing C groups, namespaces, ch root jails. So it does takes quite some overhead. And how is the container lightweight after adding so much overhead to it? So let's have a look at the real reason why we need containers. Okay, the architecture that was used to deploy applications was monolithic, right? So you create the entire code and you deploy it on a single machine. Okay, so that doesn't mean that this is the only one server will handle all the load. This can be multiple servers, but the logic is all the application data is same on all servers. All right. So the thing is, if you have to add any improvements in one particular thing of the layer, you had to compile all those applications, dependencies, test it, and then deploy it to production. Alright, but with the introduction of microservice architecture, it became easy to test specific components of an application, right? So let's suppose this app microservice does some X task and this microservice does some Y task. So if you have to change some things in X, you don't have to touch Y, you just have to touch X, build it, compile it, whatever you want to do with it, test it, and then just deploy it in production, right? Also, let's consider scaling, right? So let's suppose you want to scale application in this architecture, monolithic architecture. You doesn't matter if only one type of, let's suppose your UI needs some more uh, data or overhead space, so you have to deploy entire stack in a new virtual machine. So right, that would mean that you have to pay a lot of money as well with the cost associated with the virtual machines. But in microservice architecture, if your UI a microservice needs some memory or processing power, you can scale this specific microservice only with and leave all these microservices intact, and you don't have to touch them, and you can scale this. So this microservice architecture provides so many benefits. So your industry started migrating to microservice architectures. So the thing is, let's imagine Docker in this use case, right? Let's suppose you deploy this microservice in a container and this in another container, Docker container. So Docker actually fits the scene, and Docker is a perfect match for this microservice architecture. So that's why we use Docker in microservices. So although I agree that mostly people say are right that it's kind of lightweight and it provides efficiency and things, but the thing is you also have to notice the architecture of applications as well. So I hope that's good understanding and overview of the containers and need of containers.